we're super excited to have Jen from Heart Centered
Revolution.
Revolution. Okay, want to make sure I was saying it right. You know, with coaching, we talk a lot about yoga and how important it is. And for me, I know yoga was super important in my journey, and has been for a long time. But when I had a blood clot and I was actually told I couldn't move and couldn't do anything,
Wow.
one of the first exercises I was allowed to start doing again was yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, it's been a part when I was stressed out and going to college and working full time. I remember using that as a way to help me cope with just all the struggles of everything. And it was my way of just major release. So I'm so excited to learn more about Kundalini Yoga. That's a mouthful, because I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, it's very different and very powerful. And I'm just so excited to be able to spread the word, because yogas of all type is amazing. But I'm so passionate about Kundalini Yoga, especially for women and business owners. And it's just so effective. It's so crazy effective. Like, you can do things in 3 minutes that will completely shift your energy or your mood. And there are things that you can do everywhere. Like, you don't have to be in a studio on a mat, like in your cute yoga pants. Like, you can do it everywhere. And so I just am so passionate about spreading the word, because not a lot of people know much about it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's what's so great is because, you know, and again, today we have a nor'easter going on in Long Island. So if you're in the north of America, there's just snow everywhere.
Yeah.
So to be able to do stuff from the comfort of your home, I think is just such a great possibility. And if we're, you know, parents, you don't have to worry about leaving your child or having to worry about, you know, right now my son's sleeping, I'm able to do so all this stuff is great stuff to do anytime, or when you just have a few free minutes and you just know that you need to relieve your stress.
Yeah, it's great to have those like 4 or 5 things that really, they're like your tools in your back pocket of like, what do I need to do now? What do I need to shift or to get back in connection with myself and where I want to go and what my goals are? And it's such a powerful tool, and I am so excited to share it.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into it, and what do you do?
Yeah, so I was and still am, I still do some mental health work. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've done therapy for the past 12 years, and like working with children and families who have some of the biggest challenges of people in the world. Like I've always done field-based work. So I go into kids' homes. I was going into their like foster homes to help kids and families work through trauma and then challenges, like having like not enough resources, not enough financial resources, not enough emotional resources. Sometimes parents were struggling with parenting their kids because they weren't parented properly. And so being in people's homes was such an honor, and I loved to be of service and to help teach. But I'm very empathetic and very sensitive. So I would take a lot of that home with me. And I would feel the weight of the stories I would hear, and I would feel the stress of all the paperwork. And was a lot of demands in the job, as I imagine there are for anyone's job. And so I was just feeling stressed and kind of tapped. And I was young. I was in my late 20s. It's not like my career was just starting. And so I found one of my friends invited me to a Kundalini yoga class, and I had started to like study some mindfulness and do some yoga. But I had a friend who took me to a Kundalini yoga class, and my mind was blown. Like, it was an 1.5-hour class, so it was a significant time commitment. But the shift that I felt emotionally, energetically, and mentally, I was hooked. I was like, whoa, like what happened in that room? Like, I don't understand what happened, but I need more of it. And a lot of people who start Kundalini that way, it's like that you get a little taste and then you want more. And I just I continued to get benefit from it. And so I wanted to continue to deepen my understanding. And so then I just continued down the path of becoming a teacher. And I finished teacher training about 5 years ago. And so have now been teaching, you know, in the evenings and weekends, and then starting to teach online, because it's just, as the world gets crazier and crazier, like we need this stuff more and more. And so I'm feeling really called to share it.
Oh, yeah. And I love what you said. There were so many good things that I was thinking of when you were saying that. One of them is I know so many people, and definitely some of the people that are watching, you know, a lot of us are empaths.
Yes.
So we understand exactly what you're talking about, that, you know, Yeah, I've been in education for 15 years, and there's so many wonderful, amazing kids, and it's hard not to bring home some of that energy, some of that nervous energy, some of that sadness, some of that
Yep.
stuff, and it's hard to disconnect. So being able to have that tool to just let off steam, and I was actually just saying yesterday to some of my coaching clients, like, even if it's only 5 minutes, I mean, you have to, the more stress you have, the more you need to learn how to like
Yes.
let go, disconnect, and just, you know, allow yourself that time for that self-care, because we get wrapped up in it. We're helpers, so we want to help everybody,
Yep.
and we got to help ourselves. That's so important.
Yeah, it is. You're not of service to anyone if you're not fully present, and you can't be fully
Mm-hmm.
present unless you're taking care of yourself. It's our culture it's a shame that in our culture we just don't value that. You know, it's work, work,
Mm-hmm.
work, go, 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 produce, 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 and that's just not sustainable, especially with how hectic things have gotten and how much information is thrown at us all day, every day, and just things are getting more intense. And so,
Mm-hmm.
especially those of us who are sensitive and who are empaths, like our role on this planet is so important. We
Mm-hmm.
need to take care of ourselves so that we can show up fully, and we're not showing up halfway and doing a half job when we do show up.
Agreed, agreed. And Mackenzie just said she tries to explain that to her mom. And I feel like that's so true, because so many of the mothers, like from my parents' generation, from, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
generation before us, I feel like they're so good at helping everybody and forgetting to help themselves.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of those things too, and like, oh, we need to do everything. And the reality is we don't. We can ask for help. It's okay.
Yes.
And again, that taking care of ourselves, exactly like you just said. It's so true.
Yeah, it's so important to set aside that time and make it a priority and get good at saying
Mm-hmm.
no. Like I was meeting with some people yesterday or Monday, and we were talking about how like we always want to help, 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 and this realization that help doesn't always have to be your physical presence. Like someone can ask you to do something, or you can want to care for somebody and send them a well wish or send them a loving text message. Or if they ask you to show up in person and commit time or something that's going to tax you, like you can set a loving boundary with saying no, and then um like I said, sending them a card or a text or just a prayer. Like it doesn't have to be your physical presence and your energy all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a lot of people liking what you just said, just because it's definitely true.
Yeah, these are hard
Now, do
lessons
you
to
do this?
learn.
It is. It took me 38 years. Yeah, I'm 40. I'm learning. I'm just in the knowledge part. It took me a long time. Now, you do this with your husband. Does he do yoga as well?
He does. We actually met at teacher training. So for Kundalini Yoga, teacher training is a whole year. So it's kind of like going to a year of school, and it's 200
Wow.
hours of instruction. So it's this very deep, intense. And once you get really into Kundalini Yoga, it's a very spiritual practice. And so it's this very intense transformation that you go through, like who I was before teacher training and who I was after. It's completely
Mm-hmm.
different, but I feel like I'm more myself after teacher training than before. But part of that process for me was meeting my husband. And so we met, and throughout the process, we were both kind of doing our own work. And then after we graduated, a couple months later, we started dating, and everything lined up. And it's been such a beautiful relationship. And I was never a relationship person. Like I was always just single, and it's just been such a beautiful process. And it's one of the gifts that Kundalini Yoga gave to me. And by working on myself, I was able to get that relationship that I wanted.
Yep. Exactly. That's, hey, preach it, because that's what we say. I would say time. You know, you can't, until you are where you need to be, you can't attract the right person to you. And I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
Mackenzie just said, whenever I think of yoga, I think of grabbing the mat and dedicating 30 to 60 minutes. With my schedule, I can't dedicate that. What are
No.
some suggestions to doing yoga in a shorter period of time? Which is such a great question. So
Yes.
let's have that into it. Tell us what Kundalini yoga is, because
Okay.
we know it's different from vinyasa and
It's
some of the other
it's
forms.
very different, and that's not to say that, because I love vinyasa. For me, vinyasa, like I can release physical stress in a way with vinyasa that I can't with other things. And you
Mm-hmm.
can do vinyasa or hatha in 10 or 15 minutes. Like do 3 sun salutations, do 6 sun salutations. You will feel a difference. Like I like to put on dance music like Beyonce, and then I'll do my sun salutations and rock out. and it's lovely, but it's a very different feeling than Kundalini Yoga. So Kundalini
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is much more comprehensive than Vinyasa. So we have physical exercises, but they're targeted not just on working the muscles, they're targeted on balancing your nervous system and your glandular system. So you're actually balancing your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system so that you respond to stress differently, so that you can be more neutral and more calm, and that your literal glands and the hormones that they secrete all gets better balanced. We also use chanting. So you use your voice, which makes a lot of people nervous, but that's part of learning to speak your truth and learning to speak with your navel chakra and learning to be authentic. And so by chanting, you get an opportunity to do that. And it also lets you meditate without having to be quiet. So everyone's like, I can't meditate, I can't quiet my mind. Well, in Kundalini Yoga, there's no need to quiet your mind. Like you've got something, you've got a mantra, you're chanting, you have something to focus on. And then the quiet mind comes after the meditation. So it's just a different experience. We also do a lot of breathing practice. So our mind-body connection is most easily observed with our breath. So we breathe naturally and we don't have to think about it. But if you think about your breath and you manipulate it, within 3 minutes, your mind will follow your breath. So if you think about it, if you're nervous, you're tight, your breath gets shallow and fast, and that makes you continue to feel stressed out. But if you can remember to take a minute and take deep breaths, then your mind will relax, things will slow down, and you can identify solutions to your stress or kind of just experience your life in a different way. So that's how Kundalini is different, is we use exercise, chanting, breathing, meditation, and we also really emphasize relaxation. That's something that when you go to a vinyasa class, you'll lay down in shavasana. The like relax, they call it corpse pose, which is morbid, but it's just like to relax. You do that for maybe a minute or two. If you go to a solid Kundalini class, you're laying there for 10 minutes and they're playing a gong. Like relaxation is just as important as the effort, because if you exert effort but you don't relax, you're just adding chaos to your system. Like you've got to exert effort and then you have to relax so that your body can integrate what you've done. And life is very similar, right? Like you've got to exert effort in your business and then take a break and let what you put out there kind of do its magic. Otherwise, you're spinning.
With my coaching clients, I try to get them, we call it celebration. So
Yes.
they do all this hard work and then they forget the celebration part. So
yes.
they did all this stuff, but then they're like, oh, it's not enough, I need to do more. But you can't really ever get to see the fruits of your labor if you're just running all the time. You need work and then you need break. And the celebration doesn't have to be anything crazy. It can be, listening to nice music, reading a book, something like that. But I love this idea because it's such a parallel to life. And I love what you said. It's so realistic. You work and then you relax afterwards.
Yeah, and I love the analogy of like this is like how the heart works. So the heart expends effort and it pushes blood into your system. And then in order to receive, it doesn't do anything. It just relaxes and then it gets filled up naturally. And that's how our life works, is you expend effort and you put things out into the world. And then if you want to receive anything, whether it's love, relaxation, financial abundance, you just have to relax and let it come into your life. And that, I mean, it requires a certain amount of trust, but it's just required if you want to receive, big magic.
Yeah, that makes sense. So does anybody have any questions? I know there's a few more people that have come on. If there's any questions, because I know I'd like us to get started with some of the different techniques, unless there's something you wanted to add, Jen. But if there's someone that has a question, now might be a good time to ask maybe some other questions. If anybody's questioning anything, they have anything they want to say or share. Has anyone actually watching ever done Kundalini Yoga? I don't know if this is everyone's first attempt at finding anything else about it. For me, this is my first, like I said.
Yeah.
So this is all new. All right, it's a little bit of a lag, but I don't really see. So if anybody feels like they want to jump in and throw in any questions, feel free. Again, those of you who just came on, this is Jen. So Mackenzie said just Vinyasa, and Michaela just said this is the first she's heard of it.
Awesome.
So yeah, it seems like you're going to be the teacher for everybody for their first lesson. which is always exciting to be able to be the first one to share information with
Yeah,
people.
it is fun. And so we had talked about talking about stress. So I can say a little bit about that and how Kundalini can help. And then I identified 2 techniques we can do today. Um, they're real quick, like 3 minutes or less, and it can help reduce your stress. And then we'll do like a full meditation in a couple weeks, like we talked about. And kind of you can have the whole chanting experience then. So I'll find a chanting meditation, and for those who are brave enough and want to join me in that, I can lead you through a chanting experience. But today, to kind of ease in, I have a couple really yummy, easy things you can do in 3 to 5 minutes. So it's not a big time commitment.
Okay, perfect. And that's what Mackenzie was looking for, is something the short time.
Yep.
Because I know Mackenzie has almost 1-year-old, so that
Yeah.
little time constraint, the little pieces when you can get that in.
Oh, yes, I totally understand that. I don't have children, but I've nannied before, and I remember like having the kid in the seat in the bathroom while I'm taking the shower so I can get ready to go to work. Like I have had some experience with the like, how do I find 2 minutes to like figure my life out? And it's nice. Like longer practices are really important, but they're not sustainable. They're not something everyone can do every day, either for time or affordability. And that's really why my husband and I started Heart Centered Revolution, is because we wanted people, to learn about Kundalini Yoga, but also to have a way to like incorporate it into your day-to-day life. Because if you go to a class once a week, it's great for that day, and maybe the next day you still kind of feel, in the flow of it. But if you can do things throughout your day, it's going to be even more powerful, and you'll stick with it, and you develop a relationship with your practice. And so it takes on a different flavor.
Yeah, agreed.
Um,
So stress.
so
All right, so
stress.
we're dying to hear about how do we deal with our stress? How is this going to help us with our stress?
So I'm going to be honest, this is from my mental health background, but stress is this equation of, we feel like the outer demands on us are more than our inner resources. And so that's all stress is there's this mismatch between outer demands and the resources you feel like you have. And so you can address your outer demands by what we've been talking about. Like you can set boundaries, you can say no, you can reframe things like seeing cooking dinner as a stressor versus seeing it as an opportunity to relax is totally up to you. Like you get to make that conscious choice about how you interpret some of the responsibilities in your life. But that's not kind of where yoga fits in. Yoga is more about feeling like you have more resources to give. So it's about revitalizing your energy, helping you feel centered, helping you feel creative and in touch with your intuition, so that answers come easier. You're not like working upstream, you're in the flow of life. And so that can be the result of doing yoga. Stress and like our stories or the narratives that we carry about ourselves, like I'm overworked, I don't have enough time. Even if you've experienced some trauma in your past or had some bad relationships or bad experiences, all of that is stored in our body, and it's stored in our voice, and it's stored in our breath. And so Kundalini Yoga is the perfect match for releasing the old stories we have about ourselves, because we move our body, we manipulate our breath, and we use our voice in a way that's different. Like I never would have sang in front of a group of people before Kundalini Yoga. Like I was one of the people, I'd be like, okay, like I'm gonna try to be small and turn my voice down, because I don't know how to sing. Like I don't even know what pitch is. Like people say it's off pitch. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I don't know what on key means. Like I just have no clue. But through these practices, like you just develop the inner strength and the inner confidence that like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to put myself out there. And that helps reduce stress because you feel like you have more resources to offer, if that makes sense. Like more inner strength. And then also just...
And that's what it...
Pardon?
Right? It's the resilience towards life, because, it is. You never know what's going to come at you. So having that resilience to deal with whatever comes at you, knowing that you'll be okay because it's a flow.
Yes. Yeah. And being connected with yourself and your authentic self is just, you expend less energy through the day. So you just end up at the end of the day with more energy reserves and with more ability to manage whatever comes your way. And then as you see, we'll do two practices, but there's also a distinct difference between the level of stress you have before you practice and then right after. Like it just helps us
Mm.
release energy that's stored in our body and stories that are stored in our subconscious mind. So it can help you clear that.
Awesome.
So
That
those
sounds wonderful.
awesome. So those were my thoughts about that. So we'll do you want me to do the little mini practices now?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to do two. One is like a component of Kundalini Yoga that is just really fun. And it's just like
Mm.
a basic self massage. But before we do that, because I'm a yoga teacher, we're going to get centered. So if you can close your eyes and just wherever you are, sit up tall, open your heart. We as empaths tend to try to collapse our chest and protect our heart. But it's safe now. Open your heart, let your shoulders be wide and back, or up, back, and down. And then feel the crown of your head is lifted nice and tall up towards the heavens. The chin is gently tucked down. And you can bring your chin back a little bit so that there's some space in the back of your neck. So we're going to take a few breaths together. Inhale deeply through your nose. And then exhale through your mouth, making a sound like a sigh. We'll take two more like that, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Last one, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Okay, so I'll lead you through the self-massage. If you need a visual, you can always open your eyes, but I encourage you to keep your eyes closed if you can. So we're going to start by just take your two peace fingers and just gently tap on your temples. And so it's nice if you close your eyes, give yourself a nice tap on your temples. You can move around a little bit, like in little baby circles, whatever's feeling good to you. And then we'll go ahead and move and start tapping on the back of your neck. And you can kind of go up and down from the bottom of your skull down to the tops of your shoulders. Tapping as hard or as gently as feels right for you. We're stimulating some blood flow, some energy flow. We store a lot of stress in these points. This is an easy way. It's a nice way at the end of the day to release it. Okay, we'll move to the shoulders. So you can tap the tops of your shoulders. You can try to do the same, or you can cross your hands. And keeping the eyes closed if you can. The breath long and deep. Inhaling fully, exhaling completely. Then we'll tap our chest, kind of where our clavicle is. You can use 4 fingers if you like, instead of the 2 here. Just really enjoying this time with yourself. If your mind is wandering to to-do lists or anything like that, just bring it back to the sensation of your tapping. Okay, we'll move to the top of the head. So you can tap around the top of your head. This one feels really good to me. We'll all have different bodies, so different areas probably feel better to different people, but I love this one.
The shoulders were really good for me.
And don't worry about feeling silly. It's okay. Kundalini Yoga is all about feeling ridiculous and kind of just letting go of our ego's need to be cool. Doesn't really serve us after high school anyway. And then we'll do one more.
It didn't serve us then
I
either.
think that's true. We'll do one more point here, like where your jaw meets, almost where it meets your ear. So the hook of your jaw, release the tension there. And then the last spot, you can move to your third eye, and we're not going to tap it, just gently brush your third eye here. For us empaths, this might feel really good. I like to just like swipe it. And then let's all close our eyes, bring both hands down into your lap or resting on your knees. Let's inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And just sit in stillness and check in with yourself. Check in with your mental, emotional, and spiritual state. And notice if tapping through some of those points helped release any tension. There's only a couple of minutes, so it wouldn't really expect miracles, but even little shifts, like little bits of self-care, are so important. Sometimes we can just release the big stuff, and it's like you start momentum. You get yourself on this relaxation roll, and it can continue. Then when you're ready, you can blink open your eyes. Awesome. That's just a little technique that we do in some of our like physical kriyas with Kundalini Yoga. Some of the exercise sets actually include some self-massage in them. And so it's a nice thing to just do at the end of a night, especially if you don't want to roll out a mat or like go anywhere. You can do it, sitting in bed before you go to sleep. You can do it in your car, at a red light. You can kind of tap through these points and just help induce some relaxation and some mind-body connection because you're paying attention to your body.
Does it? Because I feel almost like a tingling. Mackenzie says it was perfect. I feel almost like a tingling, or like, I don't know, is it blood flow or is it the nerves that are kind of woken up? Like, or is it just the fact that I'm kind of putting attention to those areas?
It'll be different for everyone. So everyone has different sensations. Some people will get tingling. Some will get like hot pricks, like not uncomfortable, but they feel heat.
Yeah.
Some will feel cool. Some feel like, I feel like light waves go through. And so we all just have different sensations because our bodies are different. And so you're doing all of that. You're increasing blood flow. You're also releasing energy. So like I said, our bodies have a memory. And so they store tension, they store emotions in different places. And so each of these places stores a different type of emotion. So if you've been through something serious recently, as you're tapping, you also might feel some sadness come up, or you might feel an emotional release, especially in the shoulders. And we didn't do the hips, but if you do something to release your hips, then you can feel big emotions come up because emotions are stored in these places. But it's a positive thing, right? It's better to have these emotions come up and out. While that might be unpleasant, than to have them stored in your body, because that can turn into bigger problems.
Oh, yes. And Veronica says she feels the tingling too.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some good feelings on that. And I agree. I mean, that's one of the things is that I think so often we're told to suppress, not talk about. And it's so important to release it. I remember being a teenager and I just never cried. Like I was so stressed out and things weren't always great at home, and I just didn't cry. And I remember, getting to a point in college, I think it was actually in yoga, and I was like, I'm crying. Like, why am I crying? And it was just stuff that like, it's okay. I just kind of let it. And now at this point in my life, if it comes up, I let the emotion out. I talk about it. I do what I need to do. And then it's gone. I don't have to hold on to it. It doesn't own me. Forgiveness has happened.
Exactly.
Forgiveness for myself, other people, but it's not worth holding on to. And I love just that little thing that we just did. I could see how that could help even like for a longer period of time, or do some of the other body as well.
Yeah, so for any of this stuff, you can always do it for longer, but you get an impact if you only have a few minutes. So we tend to get in this black or white thinking of like, oh, I don't have an hour, so I can't do yoga, or I don't have an hour, so I can't do self-care. And what we just did was 3 minutes, and it will have an effect, right? Like you don't need to have a whole hour. You can give yourself a little love. In just 3 to 5 minutes. And then if you have the days you have more time, then take more time. Like it's a really important part of life, like we've been talking about.
That's awesome.
So I had one more breathing technique, which is one of my favorites. And so it's to increase energy and to reduce stress. So it's like the thing we're all after, I think. And so I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and then I'll lead you guys through it because I want you to kind of understand what I'm describing. And then you can close your eyes and you can do the practice. Like I said before, in Kundalini Yoga, we manipulate our breath a lot. And one of the ways is to break up the breath into sections. And so we're going to inhale through the nose in 8 different sections or segments. And so you'll inhale, like sniff a little, pause, sniff a little, pause, sniff a little, pause. And you'll do 8 of those to get a full inhale. And then you'll exhale through the mouth. So I'll demonstrate and then I'll lead you through it. Okay, so and you don't have to do it with me. But we'll start by taking a full breath, a full exhale, and then we'll inhale 8 sniffs. And then exhale through the mouth. Inhale 8 sniffs through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. So it seems super basic, and it is. And I just did 2 breaths, and I can feel my body relaxing. And I was already pretty relaxed. So I'll lead you through it. We'll just do it. I won't fall asleep, I promise. But I can feel like, I've had a long day at work too, so I can feel some of the tension in my shoulders like unknitting already. So I'll lead you guys through this breathing exercise. We'll just do a couple minutes. So again, you want to sit up tall. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Heart is open. You feel safe. Your sit bones are grounded. You feel rooted into the earth. But you also feel the top of your head is connected to the heavens. Tuck your chin down and back just slightly so that there's some space in the back of your neck. And then the shoulders are relaxed, so they're not up by your ears. They're relaxed down. We'll take a couple regular breaths together. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Take one more breath on your own. Eyes are closed. They're focused at the third eye, so your eyes are focused between your brow point. And then wherever you're at in your breath, let's exhale completely. And then begin inhaling in 8 equal sniffs. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale 8 sniffs. Exhale through the mouth. You go at your own pace, and it'll take a few breaths for you to realize how big each sniff needs to be for you. That's okay. No one expects perfection. Inhaling in 8 equal sniffs to get a full breath. And then exhale through the mouth. Keep up this breathing pattern with the eyes closed, focused at the third eye. Continue the breathing pattern. Do a quick scan of your body. See if you're holding any tension in your shoulders or your face, and let it go if you are holding any. Now that you've done a few rounds of the breath, let it come naturally from your navel and let your lungs almost expand naturally. You're not having to force it through your throat or your mouth. Your body is just almost expanding on its own in these 8 sniffs or 8 segments. If your mind wanders, bring your focus back to your breath and focus your eyes again at the third eye. This eye gaze, the focusing at the third eye, is what will help lock your mind into the present moment and into what you're doing. We'll do a few more rounds. Be conscious that even though we're doing 8 segment inhales, that you're still getting a full inhale. And the exhale is going through the mouth, but you're completely exhaling. Get all the stale air out of your lungs. You don't need to carry it around with you anymore. Beautiful. Wherever you're at, finish your next round. No rush. Take your time. And then inhale deeply. Suspend the breath just for a moment. Squeeze your body a little bit. Feel as though there's energy moving up the center of your body and out the crown of your head, like it's cycling through your chakras. Exhale, keep the eyes closed, relax the face, relax the shoulders, relax the breath. And then come back to yourself, checking in with your mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of yourself. And just observe without judgment, where are you right now? Did that exercise have an impact on you? And what was it? And then when you're ready, you can bring...
That felt really good.
Yeah? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a powerful one. Do you mind sharing kind of how it felt for you? Because it'll be a little different for everybody.
Well, I think at first, and it was kind of, you kind of said it as we went, but at first I was concerned that I wasn't getting the full equal breaths. And the longer ones at the end, and then I felt a little bit like I was out of breath. But then as I kept going, I felt a little bit more open. I felt, again, that tingling. I guess it's the oxygen and all that good stuff, the releasing of whatever's going on. But my chest felt like it was opening up. There definitely felt like some pressure that was opening up. And then just like this whole area was just much more open. Like I could feel this area, again, tingling and as well.
Yeah, it sounds like some release of like either energetic or even physical tension kind of opening up. And it just... Kundalini Yoga is so complex, but one of the things that we're doing is we're opening the channel so that the energy can flow freely, so that the energy isn't stuck in your body anywhere. And so every exercise and breathing practice is trying to target like opening up some of that energy. And so it sounds like that's what you're experiencing, is some channels are opening so that the energy can move.
It is, and I'm almost feeling like, as we're talking, it's like almost like I can feel more the crown of my head, which is kind of, it's like, whoa, I can feel, and now it's like moving up here, which is, it's a cool sensation. Yeah,
so it's moving like energy from the lower chakras and our lower centers up into our higher centers, so we can be more connected.
Let's see, Veronica said, my brain feels like there's air in that area, which is a good thing. That's another great exercise to use. Amazing. Thank you. And Steph, will this video be available if I save it for guidance? Yeah, well, it's going to be saved automatically in our Mind and Body Awakenings page. So I'm going to let everybody know at what point to start watching from the technical difficulties we're having in the beginning. And that way you can watch it from that point on and get all of this great information, because it's a lot to learn, a lot to take in. So yeah, definitely it'll be available for whoever wants to be able to rewatch this.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. It's really fun to teach. Like I've done Facebook Lives before, but not in this like method. So it was really fun to do, and it felt natural to teach this way. So I'm excited to do it some more.
Yeah. I mean, it really is such a great opportunity. And like, I remember the first time I did a Facebook Live, I was so like uncomfortable and nervous. And, and then it's like, once you do it and you get it over with, you're like, oh, not only is it not bad, it's so awesome, because again, like we said, you don't have to leave your house. So you can be comfortable, and when you're done, you don't have to drive home a long way. You just go back downstairs or wherever it is that you need to go to your next. So, this was great. And you're all the way in California?
I am. I'm in Fountain Valley, so like near Huntington Beach, which is what most people know. I'm in Orange County in California.
Okay.
So I'm blessed.
My best friend lived in that area, in the Huntington Beach area. Actually, my half sister lived in that area too. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's lovely. I love it here.
Oh yeah. I think us Northerners are getting a little tired of the snow. I don't know.
I joke all the time that I would be, I don't know, I'd be homeless because I would not be able to leave my house to go to work. Like I would see the snow and be like, oh, looks like I'm staying home today. And I'm very spoiled. Like I'm a spoiled Southern California girl when it comes to weather. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, well, and you deal with it because you're kind of used to it. But yeah, I think everyone is just kind of done. We're like, this is springtime, Mother Nature. It's not.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Veronica said, thank you so much for sharing it. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with? I know we had talked about, we're going to do, for those of you watching, we're going to do another segment. Oops, as I hit the tripod. We're going to do another segment on April 4th at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And so that's going to be another Wednesday. And Jen, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing in that segment?
Yeah, so I actually haven't chosen. I'll probably use my intuition, but I'm going to guide us through a full meditation. So it'll take 15 to 20 minutes, so still not a huge time commitment. And we will tune in, which is a little bit of chanting. And so if you want to join, maybe be in a place where you can use your voice. You don't have to, you can always just listen along. But if you want the full experience, just have some space where you can use your voice. You don't have to be super loud or anything. And just some courage to do something new, because if as you experience these like 3-minute things, like Kundalini has very powerful tools to offer you. You just have to be willing to go outside your comfort zone a little bit. So we'll do a meditation. I honestly haven't chosen one yet, but they're all pretty powerful and they're all really fun. And so I'll guide you guys through that, and I will get some better light going on because I moved and I'm seeing now that I don't have good light here and it was too late to move. So I'll be better lit when we do that.
The lighting is always, I now have like all the good lighting, which my first few videos I didn't know lighting, and now there's 3-point lighting. There's supposed to be backlighting. Like it's a whole science.
And I have them for my videos, but when I sat down, I had good light, but clearly the sun moves. So I don't have good light anymore.
Well, for me during the day, even sometimes I have to just put one light on because there's beautiful light and inside it looks great. But then as soon as you put it on camera, it just looks completely different. So, but I can see you look beautiful. In fact, I see just kind of light coming down here. So it's like, you're still lightened.
I see that, but
Mackenzie,
go ahead.
I just wanted to share real quick. Mackenzie said, this was seriously exactly what I've needed. I put off yoga so much because of the restraints, and I feel the negative effects it's had on me. These short exercises are perfect for in between classes at work or in between naps and feedings at home. Thank you so much for this information. So looks like
Mackenzie, and for everyone else, I'll be back next, in a couple weeks to do a meditation here. But we have a podcast, so our Heart Centered Revolution podcast is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And at the end of every single episode, I do one of these exercises. And so even if you're not interested, like it sounds like everyone here is pretty new to Kundalini Yoga, which is totally great. And so the beginning of our podcasts are like about the philosophy and teachings of Kundalini Yoga. So even if you're not interested in that because you don't have time or it's just you're not into it yet, because we have like some like Kundalini yogis like follow us to learn more about the practice. But even if you don't want that, if you skip towards near the end, there's always a guided breathing exercise. And so if you want to learn more and just kind of experiment with that, then our website's heartcenteredrevolution.com and our podcasts are there, or you can find us as Heart Centered Revolution on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher to get a little.
Awesome. And if you want to put comments so that people can just easily click on it or look at it.
Yeah, I can do that. I can put links to all of it.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely do that because I think there's a lot of interest. So that's awesome.
But thank you, Mackenzie, for sharing that. And seriously, like whatever resonated with you about today, just practice it. And it's a powerful thing. It can change the way you experience your life and the way you show up in your life. And I'm so excited to share it with people. This is really fun.
And I'm just going to add to the finding your voice part. I think that part for a lot of people is the hard part in yoga and in life. Is being able to actually verbalize feelings, emotions, thoughts, your story, whatever it is. There's that voice not being able to, and that discomfort of making noise in general, whether it's in yoga practice or, just in general in life. So I love that part of it. I'm excited to see what you're going to show us in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I want to add on to that, but those of us who are heart-centered and I'm going to say spiritual, but I don't mean religious. I mean like on this planet to provide service and to uplift other people, our voices are needed more than ever right now. So if that is who you are, then you need to find your voice. And whether it's Kundalini Yoga or not, I don't care how you do it, but find your
Mm-hmm.
voice and put yourself out there because the planet needs you. And so, you know, one way or another, just turn that volume up and find how to speak your truth.
Agreed. That's what we say all the time. If everyone was living their purpose and you know doing what they were meant to do, the world would just be a better place. It's kind of
Yes.
us helping other people get there is helping us as well. It's helping humanity. We
Yep.
can all lift each other up. It's such a great opportunity and such a great journey to be on with
For
everybody.
sure. And be brave and put yourself out there because people won't be, trust me, like I went through this whole, like, I can't tell people what I do because it's so weird. Like, I wake up early and I chant and like I do all this strange stuff. And trust me, like, people are fine with it. They don't care, like, what weird thing you've got going on or what you think is strange. Like, no one else, people will love you for being authentic.
Find your fellow weirdos. That's what I say.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. And again, Jen, thank you so much for all the great information. I'm excited to be able to incorporate all of that stuff. Again, this is yes, save humanity. I mean, that's what this is all about, right?
Yep.
So again, thank you everybody. Thank you, Jen. And tune in next Wednesday. We're actually going to be looking into tapping. And then the Wednesday after that, we're going to be speaking with Jen again, and she's going to be showing you some other great moves and great practice with Kundalini. So I'm really excited for that. Michaela said, thank you. And Veronica said, that is so true. I found my purpose-driven passions in nursing. Awesome.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank you so much. All right. See you soon.